Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about a $100 billion handshake. Yeah, you heard that right. It's a trade deal that's, well, it's pretty unique, and it might just be the blueprint for how India builds a $20 trillion economy. So let's dive in.
All right, so first up, you've got to understand the ambition here because it's huge. We're not just talking about a little bit of growth. Nope. India is aiming for a complete top-to-bottom economic transformation. So where are we starting from? Well, right now, India's economy is sitting at about $4 trillion. And just to give you some perspective, that's already big enough to make it one of the largest economies in the world. I mean, that's a massive number by any measure.
That here's the kicker. The goal is to quintuple that, to hit $20 trillion. And they want to do it in just 15 years. Now, a jump that big, well, it's not going to happen with just slow and steady growth. You need some serious rocket fuel for that. So where do you find that kind of rocket fuel? Well, that's where this groundbreaking new agreement comes into play. It's designed to be that exact catalyst we were just talking about. On October 1st, a brand new deal officially went into effect. It's between India and the European Free Trade Association, or EFTA. Now, that's a group of 4 really wealthy nations. You've got Switzerland, Norway, Iceland, and Liechtenstein. And here's the headline number, the one that got everyone's attention. It's a commitment from these countries to invest $100 billion into India over the next 15 years. Just let that sink in for a second. But here's what really makes this whole thing revolutionary. It's not just the amount of money. It's the fact that it's a binding commitment. This isn't just, a friendly handshake and a vague promise. No way. For the first time ever in a major trade deal like this, that investment and the job creation goals, they are legally enforceable. There are actual teeth to this promise. So it sets up this really clear, you get this, we get that situation. It's simple, really. The EFTA countries get lower tariffs, meaning cheaper access for their goods into India's massive market. And in return, India gets that guaranteed $100 billion to pour into its Make in India program and, get this, create 1 million new jobs. But why? Why is this $100 billion so absolutely critical? Well, to really get why this deal is such a big deal, you have to look at the sheer mountain of investment India needs to attract. Okay, check this out. According to some analysis, just to hit its economic targets, India has to pull in $2 trillion in foreign investment by 2035. And wait, it doesn't stop there. They'll need another $2.4 trillion on top of that by 2040. I mean, the numbers are just astronomical. So when you look at it that way, that guaranteed $100 billion from EFTA, it's not just a drop in the ocean. It's a really, really important down payment on that massive goal. So this deal isn't just about getting new investment dollars in the door, it's also about fixing a pretty big problem, a really lopsided trade relationship that India currently has with these 4 European nations. And this chart, wow, it says it all, doesn't it? Look at this. Right now, India exports only about $2 billion worth of stuff to the EFTA countries, but it imports $22 billion worth from them. That is a huge trade imbalance. And you want to know what most of that import bill is? It's gold. So how does the deal fix this? Well, it tackles the problem head on. EFTA is giving India tariff concessions, think of them as discounts on import taxes, on over 92% of their tariff lines. What that means in plain English is that almost everything India exports to them will now be cheaper and way more competitive. And this just throws the doors wide open for Indian exporters in a whole bunch of really important sectors. We're talking about things like rice, nuts and coffee, marine products, processed foods, all the way up to high-tech stuff like electric machinery and aluminum and copper products. It's a massive opportunity. Okay, but this whole partnership isn't just about, shipping boxes and containers. It goes deeper. It's also about services and, maybe most importantly, about people. So, for starters, Indian service companies get way better access to these markets. But here's a really cool part. It's also going to be easier for skilled Indian professionals to move temporarily to these European countries to work. A big piece of making that happen is something called mutual recognition agreements. It sounds a bit technical, but what it really means is that if you're, say, an Indian nurse or a chartered accountant or an architect, your professional qualifications will be recognized over there. That's a game changer, opening up incredible new career opportunities. But maybe the biggest impact of this deal,
isn't even the $100 billion or the new exports. It's the bigger picture. It's the strategic message it sends, and the new playbook it creates for India on the global stage. Exactly. A lot of analysts are looking at this and saying, this is it. This is the template. They see it as the blueprint for how India is going to negotiate future deals with other big players, like the UK and the rest of the EU. And this right here really shows you how the game has changed. Think about old-school trade deals. They were mostly about one thing: lowering tariffs, that's it. This new Tepa template, it's way smarter. It directly links market access to real-world results, to actual investment, to domestic growth, and to creating jobs for people. And strategically, it just pulls India closer to Europe's economic orbit. Think about it. Switzerland, right in the heart of Europe with all its connections to the EU, it becomes a kind of springboard for Indian companies who want to dive into that massive European market. All right, so let's pull it all together. What should you take away from this? First, this is a totally new kind of deal that links trade directly to investment. Second, it's designed to fix a big trade imbalance. Third, it creates a new model, a new template for future partnerships. And finally, it's a super important piece of the puzzle for India's giant economic ambitions. So that leaves us with the big question, right? India has come up with this really innovative new playbook for how it does business with the world. But is this the model? Can it be repeated over and over again to actually build that $20 trillion economy? I guess only time will tell. But one thing's for sure: the world is definitely watching.